Welcome to my channel, everybody. This is Mason Plays Games. Mason Flint with a Y. And I'm here to talk about the modern gaming industry and why it just doesn't feel the same anymore. And you're just going to see me playing some games in the background, just messing around. I'm not sure how I'm going to do because I'm trying to concentrate at the same time as playing my video. Or making my video. There we go. First mess up. But anyway, so the first topic I want to discuss is samey games. I know we've heard this a million times before, but yes, samey games. And I'm just mainly on a AAA level. What really bothers me is as soon as they find a formula that works or somebody's successful about something, I guess this has been the tale of time with games for the longest time, but as soon as they find something that works, I just don't like how everybody just has to do the same thing. And now it's the whole Dark Souls pandemic. Like everything's a Souls like, or you know what I mean? And to the point where people are even getting sick of hearing Metroidvania. But like, even in the days of like, look at this classic style of game that I'm playing right now, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Take this for example. This is like based off like an old school beat 'em up style. And yeah, like Streets of Rage came out and rejuvenated everything. Like Streets of Rage 4, absolutely brought beat 'em up back on a grand scale. And to me, honestly, it's still my favorite modern day beat 'em up, and it might be my favorite beat 'em up game of all time, is Streets of Rage 4. But that being said, like the creativity is really lacking on a AAA level, and I hold them at a higher standard than independents who are making Metroidvanias or beat 'em up games. My reasoning behind it is because if you think about um, these AAA companies, the millions and millions of dollars that they have that they can put into games, and they just come out and copy somebody else's idea or make the same game. You have millions of dollars. Your budget is huge. You can't make a Superman game. Like, you can't make, I don't know, a horror RPG. Like, even if you want to make it turn based, a real horror RPG, or like, I don't know, like a real type of horror game that's not an asymmetric, always online like Dead by Daylight. Like make it. Why can't they do something like that with like Freddy Krueger? Imagine a Nightmare on Elm Street game where you had to go to high school as kids, and at night you would have to survive your dream world as each character or something like that. And if you, not every character would make it, and the ones that made it at the end would have to fight Freddy. That's a great, cool concept, right? I know it's a franchise idea, but it's a concept. It's just an idea. Sorry about that, guys. I just kicked my camera pod. But anyways, this the samey thing. Just when I go into any sort of direct now, I'm not playing well, guys. Sorry, but I'm just trying to play and talk. But any direct that I go into now, or a PlayStation State of Play or an Xbox Showcase, I'm gonna go at an easier level. An Xbox Showcase, I'm never really that excited. But to be fair, like there's stuff in there that I do like, but most of the time I know what I'm in for. It's gonna be a bunch of Souls likes. There's gonna be a bunch of comfy, cozy games where you plant flowers and you build houses and you marry an NPC or something. There's gonna be all of that. And just all that stuff now in modern games is just kind of getting tired, man. I just would like to see some more focus on making stories that we haven't played, or just trying different ideas with all the money and power these systems have. Like, I just want to see it utilized more. Then now let's go on to point two. The PS6. I know there's techies out there on YouTube that make a ton of money doing this stuff. And honestly, I get it. You want to break it down and open up the tech and all that, but let's get realistic. In my opinion, the PS5 has been an absolute disaster. And yes, there has been good games on it, But if the fact that we're already talking about a PS6, and I honestly feel like the PS5 has barely done anything. Now it's getting some good games coming out now. Now after we spent tons of money on it to get it, and then now we're finally getting to see the graphical capabilities of it now. But also now is the time they want to tell us to get prepared for the PS6. To me, that is absolutely unacceptable. And anybody honestly wanting a PS6 right now, I have to question if they're real gamers or they're just for the next best thing, because we have not gotten what we were promised out of this generation. And just talk of the PS6 to me at this point is just absolutely insane. I cannot understand for the life of me who would want a PS6 right now. I've had my PS5 since 2022. I got mine a couple years later because they were hard to get and everybody knows the story, so I'm not going to get into it. But I have 22 physical games on it, and I'm a physical buyer, guys. Don't get it twisted. That's one of my next points I'm getting to, but I'm a physical buyer. And I only have 22 games on it. At this point, 4 or 5 years in on the PS4, I had about 40 games on it. So it's different. It's hitting different. It's not hitting the same. Games are taking way too long to come out. Too many promises are being had. Games are being canceled. Too many studios are being closed. And too many disappointing games are coming out or not coming out to be discussing next gen hardware. I don't want to spend too much time on the topic because honestly, I do feel like it's a waste of time talking about a new system at this point, in my opinion. So let's just get to the next topic now. So I digress, and I'm going to move on to digital games. Look, I don't fault anybody for wanting to get digital games. What I do fault, though, is developers forcing digital games. And what I mean by that is this horrible tactic. And I'm going to use this game I'm playing right now. And you know what that tactic is? We're going to release it digitally first and make physical, people who want the physical, wait for 8 months to a year before the physical comes out. Shredder's Revenge did it on a retail scale. Marvel Cosmic Avengers also did it. I don't like this because what they're trying to do is force your hand digitally. Sony just came out with another thing saying you have to be DRM'd. Your digital games are now DRM'd. If you don't play or something, you could lose access or be bricked or some nonsense like that. That is absolutely insane. I don't like digital because I always feel like it can be taken away from you. You can't sell it if you need to make money. You can't trade it if you need to get a game. So to me, nobody's ever going to convince me that digital is better. I will never be convinced that digital is better ever. And as long as they're releasing digital, I won't buy it. Alan Wake came out and I love Alan Wake. I played the first game, finished it, couldn't wait. I saw the trailer in I can't remember if it was a direct or an Xbox partner showcase, but I remember when they first showed the game of Alan Wake 2, I lost my mind until it came up at the end that it was digital only. You know what I did? I wanted that game so bad, I refused to buy it. I said, as long as that game's digital, they'll never get my money. And guess what? People underrated the power of physical games. The game did not perform well. They ended up releasing a physical, and I got the physical. And the game they started to recoup more of their money once that physical game was released. So to me, physical not only helps sell the game, but promotes it to other people. There's an audience out there that prefers physical, that likes owning their games, and I'm a part of that audience. And the push for digital, to me, is what's also hurting games. And that's a whole nother video I can make, but that's all I'll say at this bullet point video. Now, the next one I wanted to get to is live service games. Look, we know that live service games are absolutely horrid. Okay? Like, they are horrid for one main reason. They are not here to stay. They aren't here for a long time. They're here for a good time. Okay? And because they are here for a good time, they don't care about your time. So they are going to keep feeding you little incremental updates and want you to play this game as long as possible so they can make money from it. And to me, I just find that unacceptable. And too many people in this industry are okay with games being monetized in live service games, and that's what's killing games. These companies do not want to make single player games because they think live service is where it is, so they can get that never ending amount of money. I personally like it when games end. I personally prefer a little bit shorter games. I don't need games to be 80 hours, and I don't need a game to be played forever. I just need a game to have a good story, a fun single or co-op campaign, couch co-op campaign, online co-op, whatever campaign that we can play together, and you move on. That is how games should work. You shouldn't have to be stuck to one game forever. Now, the next part I want to get to is politics, and I'm just going to breeze through this part quickly because I don't want to get into this too much. But I do think the messaging and all that should stay out of video games. I think if they want to do messaging, they should leave it to their forums or whatever, or make certain movies. But in games, the story of the game just needs to stay in the realms of the story of the game. I don't need to be preached at. I don't need to be told this is how life should be, and we're putting this in to be more inclusive and all that. To me, that feels like you just have an agenda. You're not actually here for the story of the game or for the gamer to have fun. I have a problem with it, so I will keep this short and say I prefer messaging and politics to stay out of my games. And finally, pricing. Pricing is something that has always been a problem where I'm from in Canada, and it only gets worse. So I just want to say in the States, if your price goes up to $79.99, we've been paying $79.99 for years. That means we're going to go up to $89 or $99.99, which we have in Canada. I think pricing for games is out of control. I think they need to lower the budget costs on games. There's no reason why these games should be costing $300-400 million when you see smaller companies that make games, AAA style games, for way half the budget. There's no excuse for it anymore. They need to lower the budget, make shorter games, and start releasing games quicker and faster to fulfill the promise that we were made this console generation, that it would be the best generation to play. Now, that's pretty much it for my rant today, guys. I hope you liked it. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry, but this is my thoughts, and I just want to be real with y'all. So, anyways, thanks for listening to me rant, and hope to see you next time. See you later.